Hey, and welcome back to day 3 of the Rich Life. So day 1 and 2, what did we do? Well, I asked you guys to memorize Matthew 25:29 so that we do well with what we are given, so that we are given even more. And then on day 2, I asked you to really take a look at what society is telling us about debt. And you figure out for yourself if it's fact or fiction, based off of some of the facts that I gave you in day 2. And I also asked you to find some accountability partners or a partner. Find somebody. I don't want it to be spouse to spouse. You do need to hold each other accountable, but you need to find somebody outside the two of you, or somebody outside of your family to really get honest with and ask them to hold you accountable. You could even do what we do here at Real Life. So once a quarter, I talk to the financial team and I go over how we're doing in our finances as a church. So maybe you find some folks and you show them your budget and where you're at with your budget and how things are going. And who knows, maybe that person is in debt too. And you start to have this success, and what you'll see as they call it, the snowball effect. The debt will be reduced very, very quickly as you get down the road in regards to the debt snowball effect. So day 3, I just want to talk a little bit about money, facts, and fictions, and then we're going to get into what I call the B word, the budget, and we're going to start laying out a budget. So the fiction is everything will be fine when I retire. I know I'm not saving yet, but it will be okay. And guess what? The Calvary isn't coming. Your destiny and your dignity are up to you. You are in charge of your retirement. You'd better be 100% convinced that this area deserves your full attention right now. The younger you are, even better. Not tomorrow or pretty soon, but now. Fiction. I don't have time to work on a budget, retirement plan, or estate plan. Fact is, you don't have time not to do that. Most people concentrate on the urgent in our culture. We worry about our health and focus on our money only when they're gone. Dr. Covey from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says, one of the habits of highly effective people is that they begin with the end in mind. Wandering through life aimlessly will bring you much frustration. And John Maxwell says a budget is people telling their money where to go instead of wondering where it all went. So you have to make your money behave. And a written plan is the whip and the chair for the money tamer. So estate planning. It's never important until it's important, right? Until someone dies. So you got to think long term to win with money. And that includes thinking all the way through to your death. So I've lived this with my own parents. They had a will that they did in the 70s. I'm kind of showing my age here, but that's when my brother and I were born. So but that was it. That was all the estate planning. And quite frankly, I didn't have passwords. I didn't know where their money was. I didn't know what they owed. So there was no estate planning that they did. And unfortunately, it caused a lot of gut-wrenching emotional pain on my part as I tried to figure this out and make sure that my parents' good name stayed in good stead up until the end. So take the time and save your children a lot of heartache and headaches, and do the estate planning required to make sure that they don't have to do a lot of work to make sure all your affairs are squared away after you pass and go meet Jesus. So the B word. And the B word, as you can guess, is budget. You might have guessed something else. I don't know. But it's the budget. It's so easy to overspend when you don't have a clear boundary line. The budget tells you what that line is for each category. But when your gas money and your grocery money and your entertainment are all sitting in one big lump in your bank account, in one big category, you can plow right past that line without even knowing it. So I recommend try to use Dave Ramsey's cash envelope system for some of those categories. Here's how the cash envelope system works. You have to have a budget to do this. So this system is a forcing function to tell your money where to go rather than wondering where it all went. So say your budget is $600 for food this month. When you get paid, you take $600 out and you put it in an envelope labeled food. And when you go to the store, you take the envelope with you. You don't use that money for anything else other than food. And you don't buy any food except with the money out of the envelope. When the cash is gone, you're done. That is a pretty clear boundary. The envelope system works, and it works best when you're in categories like food, entertainment, clothing, gas, stuff like that. So break it down into categories. The more detail that you can break down in your budget, or in this case with the cash envelope system, is even better. So you don't need it for the monthly bills that you send through the mail or take care of online, but just for what you would normally go use your credit card for. And as I stated up front, this is a behavioral change that we're trying to get to. You got to get to not using your credit card for things that are in your budget. And here's the deal, swiping a piece of plastic doesn't register in your brain the same way cash does. When you actually have to lay a couple of Benjamins on the counter, you know that you're spending money, and that's why using the envelope system will help you change your spending habits. It will change your behavior with money. Changing your behavior with money is, quite frankly, the yellow brick road to living a rich life. So the next thing, fiction. I can't afford insurance. Fact is, some insurance you can't afford to be without. We all hate insurance until we need it. We pay premiums, and sometimes we feel insurance poor. Here are the ones that are either mandatory or highly recommended. Auto and homeowners. They're required in most states if you have a loan on them. So choose the higher deductible to pay a lower premium. Life insurance. Purchase a 20-year level term insurance equal to about 10 times your annual income. Disability. If you're 32 years or older, you're 12 times more likely to have become disabled than to die by the age of 65. So the best place to buy disability insurance is through your work. And you can usually get that coverage from 50 to 70% of your income. Health insurance, the number one cause of bankruptcy today is medical bills. Number two is credit cards. Now, I got to tell you, my mother was very, very sick, and we blew through their savings and our savings to make sure that she lived a pain-free life. So medical bills can get really, really high, so get medical insurance. Long-term care, if you're over 65, buy long-term care to cover in-home care for nursing home care. This is for your kids. And if you're a kid to a parent, talk to them about getting this type of insurance. Because just as I kind of laid out, if you don't do something like that, you're going to wreck not only your finances, but the finances of your kids. So in all these insurance areas, it pays to shop around and consult with someone you know that's knowledgeable, not the guy selling it. So just ask, and you'll find a good deal. So fiction. If I do a will, I might die. You're going to die, so do the will. As Micah says, we have a 100% chance that that's going to happen in our life. So estate planners report that 70% of Americans die without a will. Without a will, you've got to know the state, and they're known for their financial prowess, will decide what happens to your stuff. Your kids and your financial legacy is going to be left up to the state. Can you imagine? A will is a gift you leave to your family. It's a gift because it makes the management of your estate very clean and light years easier. As I laid out, although we did have a will, my parents had a will, it basically just said my brother gets half and I get the other half. So there was no true estate planning. So get a will and get it detailed and give a gift to your family. You're going to die, so go out in style and die with a will in place. So in your assignment, why are you on this journey to a rich life? This is important. Your why has to have an emotional tie to to your very soul. If not, your task, your mission will falter. Your why has to come from your heart and not your mind, because when you start to struggle, your mind's going to give you hundreds of reasons why you should stop going on this journey. So find your why. So try the cash envelope system for a week or even a month. This is a great jolt to your system. You have to change your behavior about how you think about money so that you start to tell your money what to do rather than wonder where it went. And I will tell you that the cash envelope system, we did it, and it was a jolt. And you really do feel the difference when you're paying cash versus using a credit card. Now we've become more sophisticated with it. My wife, as most spouses are, very, very good with our family revenue. And she's got it all figured out on how to do it the way she's comfortable with doing it. But we tried the cash envelope system, and it really was a good change of behavior for us. So the next thing is build a monthly budget. Don't move forward, and I repeat, do not move forward with the course until you have clarity on what your intake and outflow family revenue is, and break it down into categories. And if you're married, sit down with your spouse and do it together. Be a team. It's that simple. It's not easy to go through your budget at times. At least it was. It's still to this day never easy for me to go through and draw those boundary lines. But it's discipline, and it works. So, and knowing this is a big move to living a rich life. So how do you do a monthly budget? Write down your total monthly income. Write down your expenses and categorize them. The more detail, the better. And you apply your budget to those categories. And take your budget to zero every month so that you know where every dollar is going. And then the last step is follow the plan. So take it down to zero and know where every dollar is going to go for that month. And just follow the plan. And you'll start to take control of your money rather than wondering where it went at the end of the month. So that's it. That's day 3. We have, now you've got some really, a big task ahead of you, and that's to start to establish a written budget. Write it down and make sure that everybody in the family knows that this is the budget and this is what we're going to stick to. So get that done, and I'll see you on the next video.